Hello everyone. This is the last lecture on the keywords to the preamble of the Indian Constitution. In previous lecture we have discussed secularism, how Indian secularism is different from French secularism, and in today's and what do you understand by democratic and republic. And in today's class we will see what is liberty, equality, fraternity, and justice. So let's begin. So, what do you understand by liberty? The liberty means two things. The first, absence of restraint, and the second, opportunity for the development. So, liberty means absence of restraints on the activities of individuals and opportunities for the development of individual personality. So it is talking about absence of restraints and opportunities for development. Liberty is talking about two things: absence of restraint and opportunities for development. So if if the person will have the liberty if have the absence of restraint, अगर किसी भी व्यक्ति के ऊपर restraint नहीं होना चाहिए, does it mean कि there is absolute absence of restraint? Whatever I want to do I can go and do? No, there should be reasonable restriction. The aim of the liberty is the opportunity for the development. There should be the freedom so individual personality can develop. That doesn't mean that there will be the unreasonable restraint. No. So how constitution secures liberty to the citizen of the India? In Indian constitution it is talking about liberty of thoughts, expression, belief, faith, and worship through fundamental rights. Okay, so we know that Article 19 contains 6 rights. 19(1) is talking about right to freedom of expression, right? Expression, how you can express via writing, via press, media. So but there is also a restriction, reasonable restriction on Article 19(1). Article 19 clause 1a is mentioned in Article 19 subclause 2. There should be the reasonable restriction is mentioned in Article 19 clause 2 on the ground of sovereignty, public order, morality, decency, security, defamation. So Article 19 clause 1 is talking about liberty, that is freedom of speech and expression. That is talking about liberty, but at the same time article 19 clause 2 mentioned the reasonable restriction on the following grounds. That ground is the sovereignty, security of the state, morality, decency and public order. So liberty, that what we hear, it is absence of restraint, but at the same time it has a reasonable restriction. रेस्ट्रेंट उतना ही होना चाहिए, रेस्ट्रेंट्स तभी रोक लगा सकोगे आप जब वो रीजनेबल हो, otherwise there should not be restraint. Individual portion, every person should be given opportunity for the development of its individual personality. आप लिबर्टी को इस तरीके से समझो, देयर इज अ अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर द डेवलपमेंट of the individual personality, who you are, to become a better version of yourself. So it is talking about liberty. Constitution secure liberty of expression, right? Article 19. Then we have a belief, faith and worship through Article 25. Now what do you understand by equality? Equality means absence of special privileges. Here special privilege to any section of the society and the provision for the adequate opportunity. Absence of equality means no special privilege and adequate opportunity. The preamble to the Indian Constitution ensure equality to the citizen through equality of status and opportunities. So how the equality is secure? Article 14. What is Article 14 is saying? Equal protection of law. Everyone is equal in the eyes of law. Equality before law and equal protection of law. Article 14. Equality before law and equal protection of law. Everyone from the president of the country to the ordinary citizen has the same rights, same protection of law. And it is also talking about the provision for the adequate opportunity. So it is given as for the reservation, right? Opportunities, how will you give adequate opportunities? By affirmative action, that is reservation. Article 15 clause 3. Article 15 clause 3. What is Article 15 clause 3? This special provision, it's talking about special provision for children and women. Article 15(4). Article 15 Article Article 15, Clause 4. Special provision for socially educationally backward classes, that is STs, OBCs. How this is ensured? Through reservation, through reservation in the jobs, through reservation in the educational institution. Article 15, Clause 6. 10% reservation to economically weaker section. Why this is given 10%? These above all the provision ensure adequate opportunity for the individual without discrimination. It is affirmative action. Reservation is not a discrimination. Because the purpose of reservation is to give adequate opportunities who is not adequately represented. So equality preamble is talking about securing the equality of status and of opportunity. Everyone should be given an equal opportunity, whether it is in job, whether it is in educational institution. And what is fraternity? What do you understand by fraternity? Article 15 4 is talking about reservation to STs, OBCs in education institution. Article 15 clause 5 about reservation in the institution. And Article 15 clause 6 talking about 10% reservation to EWS. Equal opportunities, how? Through government exam, that is merit based. Article 16 is 4. Article 16(4) clause 4 is talking about reservation in public employment. These all provision are made for the to ensure equality. These is made to ensure equality. Now, what do we understand by fraternity? Fraternity means a sense of brotherhood. So, how Constitution of India instilled the sense of brotherhood? Through single citizenship, through Article 51A, that is the fundamental duties. Article 51A, subclause E, is talking about to promote fraternity by requiring citizens to foster harmony and a spirit of common brotherhood. How fraternity will be ensured? Through harmony and brotherhood. Among all Indians, transcending the social and cultural diversities. So, how the fraternity is ensured? Through single citizenship. In the fundamental duties, Article 51A, Clause E, it is mentioned to secure the fraternity through harmony and common brotherhood. This transcending all the diverse variation and social and cultural diversities. The ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity is inspired from French Revolution. The ideal of liberty, equality, and fraternity, inspired from French Revolution, and the word fraternity was added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. So the fraternity also means securing. Fraternity aims to secure two things. What is that? Integration of nation and dignity of the individual. Dignity of individual. How the dignity? It's not just by material betterment, not just by material betterment plus psychological betterment, giving an environment where the person's psychology, the overall the development take place, not just the material betterment. Integration of nation. How this will be ensured? Article 1. Article 1 of the Indian Constitution describe India as a union of state. India as a union of state. Article 1 says India as a union. What does this mean, India as a union of state? It means that states have no right to secede from the union. So does these means shows the indestructible nature of the Indian Union. Indestructible nature of the Indian Union. Of the Indian Union. Okay. In India, state cannot separate it from the union. Unlike USA, India is not a federation. India is a union. If state want to separate from the union, they cannot. So fraternity assures the dignity of the individual. Now there comes a one important concept, that is Trinity. Trinity. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar considered liberty, equality, and fraternity as a trinity. What are its important? According to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, these three ideals are inseparable. So, liberty without equality can lead to the domination by the powerful, and equality without liberty can suppress individual freedom, and liberty and equality without fraternity may fail to create social cohesion. Imagine a situation where there is a liberty of expression, speech, faith, belief, and worship, but there is no equality. Okay, everyone has liberty to express, but there is no equality. Only it's, for example, only the wealthiest person has a voice. They can only has a voice. So what will happen? It will lead to the domination by the powerful person. The common man voice will not get into notice. Why? Because there is no equality. Because there is a special privilege to the particular section of the people. The same with equality without liberty can suppress individual freedom. Imagine a situation where A, B, C, D, E, everyone has equal right, equality. They all can access the president office, but they don't have liberty. Only A and D has a liberty. So means if they reach the president office, only A and D, these voices are heard. Okay. So what about B, C, and E? Though they have equality, but their voice is not recognized. Their voice didn't come to the notice. So means there is equality, but there is no liberty. So equality without liberty will suppress the individual freedom. Then comes liberty and equality without fraternity may fail to create social. Imagine where is liberty? Everyone A, B, C, D, and E can has a freedom to expression. Okay, and also equality, so they can go to the president office. Their voices also heard, but A's opinion is totally different from B. B's opinion is totally different from C, D, E, and their opinions are different, and they do not come to the common ground. So what will happen? It will fail to create a social cohesion, social order, the brotherhood in society, because all of them want different thing and they didn't conclude it at a common ground. They are saying no, I want this to this only. So it will fail to create a social cohesion in the society. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar considered liberty, equality, fraternity as a three inseparable ideals. So what do you understand by justice? Justice means fair, moral, and impartial treatment of all persons. Justice is talking about treatment of people. Equality is about, don't confuse with equality. Equality is about no special privilege. There should not be special privilege. Like one, like A can access to the presidential office, so can B also. But here, justice means fair, moral, and impartial treatment. What happens if there is equality? The person A and person B can approach the can go the presidential office, but A get differential treatment, B get differential treatment. So that is the injustice. We have not done the justice. Justice, so impartial treatment. Justice in the preamble is talking about three forms: social, economic, and political. Social justice, we often know DPSPs. Many provision of DPSPs uh, are talking about social justice, like avoid the concentration of wealth, है ना? Equal pay for equal work, both for men and women. This is to ensure the social justice. Economic justice. Here you can also include equal pay for equal work. BPSPs. Political justice is ensured through all the citizens who attain the age of 18 despite the religion, race, despite the religion, caste, race, sex, their name should be included in the electoral roll so they can vote. right to vote. These ideals of justice, that the social, economic, and political justice has been taken inspired from the Russian Revolution, like liberty, equality, and fraternity from the French Revolution. So, justice, that is social, economic, and political from Russian Revolution. I hope you understood. And this is the last class on the key terms of the preamble to the Indian Constitution. In today's lecture, we have discussed liberty, equality, fraternity, and justice. Thank you. We'll meet you in the next class.